All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so fun to see so many of you on, and I know there's a ton of you that are going to be watching this recording. A lot of you actually that have never seen me or my team or even know what we do. So I just want to start really quickly and give you a little perspective as to like how I even got here and what my team actually does. So just to rewind a little bit, about 7 years ago, after about a year of motherhood, I was really struggling. I could not get myself to do my workouts. I was in a cycle of eating a lot of junk food and takeout and then feeling pretty miserable about it. And then deciding I'm going to eat healthy. And then it lasted like 2 or 3 days. And then the cycle started again. I had the workouts on DVDs. I knew healthier food choices. Like I knew I shouldn't be eating junk, but between a really demanding international tax job and motherhood and my husband who had no interest in eating healthier, like it was incredibly difficult for me to actually do it. So that is when I kind of out of desperation signed up for something called a test group that one of my high school acquaintances was doing. And I even highlighted the cancellation instruction or how to like cancel everything because I was quite sure it was not going to work out. But the thing that changed everything was I actually plugged into this community private app that she had created, and that really changed everything. I was finally felt like I wasn't alone. I finally felt like it was possible, like seeing other women that were even busier, that had more kids, that had more weight to lose, that had all these obstacles that were still making it a priority. Like that inspired me. And 7 years later, I'm still riding the waves of life and motherhood and still making a priority. And it's because of those communities. And so that really, like, yes, we're going to push play on a sample workout. Yes, I will share a bunch about hormone cycle syncing and all the education and stuff I've been learning through that. But I really want to bring that home. Like, what me and my team, we're not experts. Yes, I've been in this space now for 7 years and I've learned a ton, but I'm not the expert. Our team has the tools and the resources, fitness, nutrition, mindset, and now hormone cycle syncing. Those are created by the experts. And what we do is we come in and we create these groups and we create monthly challenges and we create these communities that actually help you take all that knowledge and things and actually do it, actually show you how in a group setting we fit it into our lives, what we actually feed to our families. Like you'll be inspired like crazy out of Abby, who I'm seeing on my screen right now, who was literally just traveling constantly for 2 weeks. She had between 5 different hotels and she was still finding a way to like drink her shakes, do her workouts. And like that's the power of what we do, is really helping you make progress and do something with it because it's yeah, lots of times we know what to do. It's the struggle of actually doing it. So all right, now because I'm also faith-based, me and my team often encourage people to bring him into your wellness journey. And I have seen time and time again how that really can help you shift how you see your body, how you see food, how you see your cravings. um, the game changer too. So I'm going to start us off with a quick prayer and then we'll push play and get going. So pray with me, please. God, I pray that you meet us here in this space. I pray that you fill our cups in only a way that you can. Please open our eyes and ears to see and know what you have for us here. Help us see what would be helpful to us in our journeys here. As we continue to connect and work on our bodies, I hope and pray that you help us focus more on how we feel and not how we look. God, I pray that we run to you for comfort and not food. God, I pray that we put food and exercise in its proper place, not and never above you, but rather just a tool that will help us be energetic and confident and productive to do whatever it is you have us here to do. For your glory and your honor. Amen. All right. And now let's loop in and I will share my screen and show you kind of what we're working with here. If you haven't had, someone give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen, the body screen. Perfect. All right. So if you have not had our access ever, or this is new, or it's been a few years, this will probably all look very neat to you. We've undergone a lot of changes in the last probably year or two. One big thing I just want to mention is we don't just do workouts. Like I said, it's all about not just the workouts, but it's also nutrition and fueling our body well and our mindset, because that's where everything changes. So we really provide tools and resources and accountability for all of those things. And what we're going to be sampling now is something we've done in the last year. They're called Super Blocks, which are effectively 3-week remade, new music, new moves versions of our most popular Beachbody On Demand programs. So like a 21-day fix and all the things. And the one that we're sampling today is Lift More. And I'm actually going to click on this one because this is where the sample is. So don't get confused by that. But I want to mention that in this, I haven't pushed play on it because I wanted you guys to hear the original audio in it. So all of these super blocks and body programs have custom music tracks that were created by the trainers themselves. He likes rock music, so it's probably going to be a lot of rock. But note that you can, when you're in a workout of any sort, you can mute the music if you want to play your own. But a lot of us, especially depending on the trainer, have grown to love kind of just the custom tracks that they put together. And the last thing I want to mention is just that this program it's one of our only programs in our entire library that does require an adjustable bench. And I say require in quotes because like I did the original program and I just modified. I just would sit or I would stand or I would lay down. So there is ways, and I'm sure as we go through the sample, I don't know if they'll show us modifications for if you don't have a bench, but just know that this is a very rare program in our library where you need a bench, but most of them you do not. And if you do want to do it, there's workarounds. All right, so let me pause this recording. I think that's it. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I would love to hear what you guys thought of that. Just again, that is literally one of our only programs that you have to have an adjustable bench for. So if that's not something you have or you don't want, first off, you can make modifications. Second of all, we have tons more programs. If you don't like rock, lots more other music. I love the variety on our platform. So now, no further ado, I am going to start digging in, and I have everything written out because I could literally talk about this for hours. I'm like, no one wants to sit and listen to me talk for hours. So this is just very much the Cliff Notes version of what I've been learning through about hormone cycle syncing. I've been taking courses, getting certified. And just so you know, like the course that I went through to get certified is kind of the next level. But the beginner course, there is a beginner course that would really help you also dig into this information yourself if you're interested in it. But okay, to start off, I at first just want to address and validate that there's, in the wellness space, especially with women, there's been a lot of conflicting information. A lot of trends, a lot of things that people tell you, oh, this will help you lose weight, this will be a healthy way, all the things, right? So I first just want to go through some of those just so that we're all on the same page. And a few facts along the way that'll help you understand why that is, why that's been the case. The first thing is, you can Google it yourself. All of this is Googleable, right? So don't always trust me. You can Google it yourself. But honestly, all of the long-term studies for the past many, many, many years, around 80 to 90% of them excluded women from their studies because they know women are more complicated. They know women have hormones, and so they would just exclude them from their studies to get rid of that complication. So most of the time when you hear things and see things, it is based on men, right? They're not going to say that. They're just going to say people. But effectively, the studies have been largely done on men. All right. as well as we know, lots of times we need to see something for a long term in someone to really see whether it is healthy, whether it is sustainable, whether it will have adverse consequences, right? And a lot of the trends, like intermittent fasting, keto, all of those, they took off because people were seeing the initial quick wins, right? So we were like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This helps. Now, now we're seeing, especially for women, those kinds of restrictive styles, they actually have harmed women in the long term. Their metabolisms, their hormones, their adrenals are actually, after they're all done with, even years of that, they find that they are worse off. And so that's, yeah, again, Google it. I don't trust me. I also want to validate that women do not have a hormone called testosterone. Testosterone, well, we have some, but not a lot. Men have a lot. And so it is true that men, I know I hear this a lot, are like, my husband lost so many pounds in so little time. And like, it can be frustrating, but that's just also a scientific fact. Men have more testosterone. Testosterone is key in burning fat. And so all things stay the same. Yes, men will lose weight and burn fat quicker than women. Just a fact. Another fact to keep in mind, women, as we age, naturally lose muscle if you do nothing to combat it. As women age, naturally we will lose muscle. And I put that qualifier in there because there are things that we can do to help combat that natural muscle loss. All right. So let's stack some of those facts on top, like women naturally losing muscle if they do nothing to combat it, and combine that with, often in this industry, for many, many years, it's been just told just to count calories and to eat less and to work out more. And as women age, a lot of times they don't want to or don't know how to do muscle building workouts of any sort. So they're just adding cardio. Again, adding all of these facts up, it's not surprising that as a whole, women, as they age, feel like they are being worse and worse off, right? They're losing their muscle mass. They don't have the same hormones as their husbands, and they're trying to eat less and do more cardio. And all of this really is just compounding the problem. I'll get more into the difference of cardio and fueling later, but just kind of wrap your head around, like, all those facts lead us to this very logical point of women as they age struggling more and more and more as time goes on, if they're doing what a lot of people in the wellness space will tell them to do, especially old age wisdom. All right. So what I want you to think of, one big thing I want us to remember, when you think of muscle, I want you to think metabolism. Muscle and metabolism. The only way as we age, and even in life, this has happened to my body over the last 7 years, the only way to really increase your metabolism, which is what we want, right? We want to be able to burn our fat. We want to be able to be strong and healthy and not have to worry about every little thing we put in our mouth. We want to be able to like eat a good, healthy amount that we're strong and energized, right? We want to be energized by our food, not feel like we have to eat less. In order to do that, we need an increased metabolism, which comes from more muscle. And I know we just did a sample workout that was like serious muscle building, right? And it doesn't have to be that, right? We can build muscle in lots of ways. Even like you'll see older women in like a swimming pool with 2-pound weights. That's something. Like, don't put yourself out to pasture just because you can't, do squats with 50 pounds like Joel, right? Like, we have lots of things in our library, and even outside of it, that can help you start to build that muscle. Because building muscle leads to more metabolism. And it'll just help your body function better and, again, energized and all the things. Now, a big key in that, as we talk about building muscle, is fueling our bodies. Again, a big misnomer in this space has been just eat less, just count calories. And I'm going to go on a little tangent that I wasn't planning on, but I just have to, because this whole like counting calories and this oversimplified version of like calories in, calories out is just not true long term for the general population, especially for what we're counting as calories these days. So think about your muscles again. When you work out, you're literally creating small tears in your muscle fibers. That's the goal, and that is what you're doing, micro tears in your muscles. Now, in order for your muscles to actually repair and get stronger and build your metabolism, they need fuel. They need building blocks. They need protein to actually get stronger and better. If all you're doing is restricting calories and eating these 100 calorie packs of cookies and crackers and whatever, like you may be okay with your calories, but your muscles and your body's not actually getting the nutrients that it needs to benefit from those workouts. And I'm going to get more into hormones. This is just still setting the stage, right? For like where we've been and kind of what a lot of people have been doing. So I can't say enough about eating enough. Eating enough is a huge part of actually losing weight. I know it's so hard to train our brain to think that less is better, but it's really not, especially when it comes to women and our hormones. Now, this is where I'm really going to dig into probably things that are new to a lot of you. Women's hormones. So we as women have two main hormones that men don't have: progesterone and estrogen. Okay, this makes us very, very different than men. Men are like robots. They have the same hormones every single day. They wake up, they go to bed, same thing every day, Groundhog's Day, which I know it's kind of comical to think about. Like when you meet most men, it's kind of their personalities kind of like that too. Groundhog's Day, same every day. Where us as women, we cycle and we have days where we feel really good and days where we are more emotional and days where we have more energy and days where we just want to sit on the couch, right? Like, and that is actually because of our hormones. Like, don't think you're crazy or need to fix yourself. It's actually part of our natural cycle. Okay. So a key in this is the why we have that progesterone and estrogen is because our bodies were made to make babies, right? Procreate. Men's weren't. They had the easy job as always. So we have progesterone and estrogen. Now, a key that I want you to remember is that, again, our bodies were wired first off to prioritize survival. Our bodies are naturally going to hold on to fat, weight, whatever we have to make sure that we can survive, right? So no matter what you're eating or doing, if your body doesn't feel safe, if it doesn't feel like I can't count on getting the nutrients that I need, and holy cow, you're burning me like crazy, it's going to hold on to what it has. Okay, so remember that with overexercise and undereating. As women, our bodies will hold on to it because they're thinking, hey, I might have to make a baby. Hey, I need to make sure I survive. I'm holding on to what I have. Okay, and that's why the whole calories in, calories out thing drives me nuts, because it's not true when it comes to women's hormones. Okay, so again, we have mechanisms in our bodies that say, if I'm not safe to get the nutrients that I need, and if I can't count on that and you're driving me into the ground, I'm holding on to what I have. Because your survival and the potential of you having a baby is more important than you losing that fat. Okay. So this is why things like keto, intermittent fasting, things like that don't work long term. Because in the long term, your metabolism will adjust and your body will adjust, your adrenals will be shot by all the stress that you're putting on your symptom. And in the end, it'll all just slow down. It'll say, okay, you're going to not eat very much and work like crazy. I just won't burn it anymore. Okay. And this is all just, again, you don't have to trust me. Google it. I don't want you to trust me. I want you to dig into yourself. So this is why I'm so passionate about, like, allergies aside, eating from all the food groups. All the food groups give our bodies something that they need. And eating enough of them, again, signals to our body, you're healthy, you're safe, you can lose that extra weight. So many times when we're looking to lose weight or on a diet, we're just focusing on what we should cut. And my focus is on what you should eat, like eating enough protein, eating enough really fiber-filled carbs, eating enough of these things. Because when you give your body enough, it signals, hey, you're safe to lose that weight. That's key. Okay, so going back to our hormones, how this works is as we go through our monthly cycle, that progesterone and estrogen are going up and down. So that's kind of what's creating our emotional waves a lot of times and our energy levels going up and down. And what's been blowing my mind, so a lot of that stuff I've been kind of rambling through are things that I've understood now for the last many years. And probably a lot of you that have been in Beachbody programs, we have been saying these things for a long time. What is different and what has been added on to my knowledge and my practice and what I've been doing with my own body is learning about these hormones of progesterone and estrogen and how they cycle throughout a month and how I can and should change my workouts and my nutrition to actually embrace those ebbs and flows so I feel even better and even more energized and get even better results by using them. Okay. So as we go through our monthly cycle of menstruation, our periods, to ovulation and back again, these two hormones play a huge role, again, in our energies. 1 second. I have a kid banging on the door. Just give me the good stuff. Hold on. Oh, look on his face. Oh, heartbreaking. Okay. So he's like, it's 9 o'clock, Mom. You should be done. Yeah, I know, buddy. Mom always runs late. Okay. Anyway, so let's say we just had our period. Okay. Right after our period, our estrogen is rising. And as our estrogen rises, this is when we are most like men. Okay. And the way that I remember that is like after your period, going to ovulation, like that's when we're dropping our egg, our body's prepping for maybe having a baby. This is when you might get a higher libido, you might be more in the mood. And that's how I remember it. Like, okay, when I'm getting to releasing an egg, I'm getting more like a man. And so in those 14 days, your estrogen will rise. And it's in that period that your body is prepped. As a woman, your hormones are prepped and ready to really benefit and love lifting heavy. It's in that beginning part of the cycle that you want to prioritize those heavy lifting days and enough rest. I can't put that in enough. The rest too is part of it. So you lift super, super heavy. You feel so good. And you'll find once you actually sync up your workouts to like this kind of cadence, you'll feel more and more like, oh my gosh, yes, like that feels really energizing and my body's really benefiting from it because it's the hormones are saying, yes, you're safe. You're safe to lift heavy because that's what your hormones want right now, right? So it also helps with, again, that fat burn because you're doing what your body needs when it wants it, okay? So then you ovulate, you let go of that egg, and that back half of the cycle, you're becoming more and more like a woman. I know it sounds bad, but it's helpful to remember. Okay. So then as the estrogen goes down, the progesterone is going up. So when your progesterone is taking over, this is when your body actually really loves HIIT and cardio and like core and like a little bit more of everything, but it likes that. It again, it's not because of the where your hormones are at in your cycle. It's not signaling to your body like, oh, what are you doing? I can't handle this. I'm gonna hang on to what I have. Your body's like, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm made for this in this cycle. Go ahead. I feel safe, right? And that's honestly what I always tell myself. Like, am I helping my body feel safe? Safe to build lean muscle, safe to burn what it has. And so in that period of your cycle, after you've ovulated, HIIT and all of that is really good for it. Now, I do want to say that there's a qualifier in this that I will be the first one to say that for many years, I was like, oh, if I can hit zone 3 all the time, like that's awesome. I will burn. Like I used to be the Shanti HIIT cardio, 45 minutes of like literally insanity. And I thought that was like burning the fat and doing good. And I'm realizing in the long term, again, in the long term, it's actually better. And your body, again, will signal that it's safe and actually lose more weight, burn more fat, and feel better and more energized if you focus on staying in more of a zone 2. And like, let's review those zones quick. Zone 1 is like You could do this all day, like just pedaling or not burning too much. Zone 2 is when you're like, oh, this is pretty hard, but it's challenging, but I can do it for quite a while. And zone 3 is like, my heart is pounding out of my chest. I can't catch my breath, and I can only do this for a very short time. And again, I'll tell you, for many years, I was like, especially on my bike, oh, I love to push that bike like crazy. But now that I've been more cognizant of like aiming, sure, you can like ebb and flow in zone 1 and 3, but your power space, especially in that back half of your cycle, is zone 2. Again, it's just working with your body, helping it see, I'm safe to lose the weight. You'll feel energized. You'll actually, burn, you'll build up instead of burn out, all of those things. So that is kind of your back half. Now, when you hit your period, those 2 days, again, talking about rest, those first 2 days of your bleed, you really should completely rest. Maybe a walk, maybe some stretching. That's about it. Because it's those first 2 days of your bleed that progesterone and estrogen are both at their rock bottom. They're both at their rock bottom. So again, I will be the first one to say, for the longest time, I would follow our calendars to the T, and I would take the weekend off, right? But I don't care when my period started. Like, if the calendar said I was going to do a workout the day, I did it that day. And as a type A person, it's still really hard if I get my period a day or two early to be like, oh, well, I guess today's my rest day. But I can tell you that if you actually implement it, again, like, I found that now after doing it, there was a few days where I got this information and I didn't implement it right away because it's hard for me to change my ways, right? And it's funny because once you learn these things, you start to listen to your body more and realize kind of the correlations, right? So I didn't follow it for a while, and I would still work out the days I got my first period, or my period, the first few days. And I realized that those were the days where, after I was done working out, I actually felt more taxed and tired than energized. Because usually, especially with drinking Energize, like, usually after workout, I feel much better and more energized. But I found that those 2 days, if I pushed through just because the calendar told me to, I did not. Like, I felt worse off because I did it. And that's why, because literally my hormones are both at their rock bottom. They're not going to benefit. They're not going to feel safe. They're not wanting you to do that. So if you do it, it's going to be like, whoa, 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 I can't handle this right now. Okay. So these are the kind of things that I'm like, oh, this will change the game if you actually implement any of it. I also know that I have women on here listening and will watch the recording that are in either perimenopause or postmenopause. And you're saying, well, I don't get my period. First off, all the information that I gave up in the beginning still applies, right? The muscle, the protein, eating enough, all of that still applies to you. I will also say that even if you're not ovulating and menstruating, your body was literally going through these cycles for how many, 30, 40 years. It still naturally has your progesterone and estrogen rising and falling. And so you still can very much sync up your workouts to a schedule. And I won't get into where and how you figure out your schedule for post-menstruating. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But there is definitely a way to get in tune with your body to know when your progesterone and estrogen is also rising and falling, and sync up your activity in that way. And again, I explain all of this because I think it's really important for you to understand some of the background, because if we don't understand the why, it becomes really hard to actually implement and do it, especially if you're like me and you have a hard time changing your ways. Like, you need to know the basics. Otherwise, it's like you'll have zero faith that it's actually going to work and help you feel better. And so you're not going to implement it. But I also want to say that you don't need to be an expert. Like, yes, I'll be providing this recording, and for sure you can take all the notes and try to implement it yourself. By all means, feel free. But my favorite part about like what I have plugged into is that, again, like, I'm not the expert. I'll never say that I am. I know enough to implement and be dangerous, right? To look more into it and get more into the Pandora's box. but I'm not the expert. I found an amazing woman. She also is a lover of body programs and products. And I absolutely, as you can see, like I still wholeheartedly believe in them, promote them, do them. It's just that as a woman, we need to tweak these standard calendars to, again, mimic our cycles. So, like, our programs are amazing. We just need to be able to tweak them and understand our bodies enough to really benefit from them and to have our max levels of energy. So, we're not overtraining and we're not under eating and all of that. So, just to give you an idea, like, all of this kind of started, it's actually started in the body realms of women in our space being like, there's some science and there's some things that we feel like women really need additional guidance in, and women really need to understand this in order to benefit fully and feel their best from our programs. And so I've partnered with someone who really is an expert, who has really been studying and getting all the letters behind her name and all of that, that has dug into women's hormone health for years and years and years. And she has created this educational course that you can go through to get a lot of this background knowledge. And the great thing about her is that she not only gives you she waters it down in a way that you can understand it, hopefully, like what I'm telling you right now. But she's also took our body workouts and our body programs and our body meal plans and recipes, and she's actually made it easier that, like, she, for instance, has created like a Lift More cycle sync calendar where it'll tell you like, hey, this is the first day of my period. This is the Lift More workout you should be doing. And it kind of brings you back into be able to just do a calendar. So you don't have to be the expert to understand it all, right? But it brings it more like a woman's way of doing this program in a way that's going to really benefit your body and not burn it out. And so she has done all the work on that, of just like taking most of our programs and putting it in a calendar that, as women, say, if you bleed this day, if you're pre-menopause or post-menopause, this is the day you're going to start. And they're, moved around, mixed and matched in a way that, based on a normal cycling woman, this is going to make you feel better. And I say all this, of course, most of our guidance and everything are assuming that your hormones are working the way they're supposed to. And they're assuming you're cycling like you're supposed to. And of course, there are situations where your body is not actually doing what it's supposed to, right? And first off, I just think digging into this knowledge helps you become more aware. And if you don't know, you might have an issue and it might help you uncover that, right? What we've done recently is, up until this point, the expert that I've been partnering with has just been referring people to doctors, right? If they feel like their hormones and their cycling just isn't what they should be. And that gets a little hard because honestly, a lot of doctors are still in that old mindset of like, just work out and eat less and count your calories. Like, wellness space is a whole nother level of doctoring, right? So what's been great is like now the person that I've partnered with also has pulled in a root cause doctor that can do virtual visits. So if that's something that you really have been looking into and you're not sure who to trust, what to do, they act for more affordable than if you'd walk in somewhere, right? You can do a virtual visit and testing and all of that if you really feel like my hormones aren't where it is. But I do think that how I started was just more of like an intro to all of this and maybe listening to my body a little more, maybe adjusting some things and seeing what happens. That's usually the best place to start, unless you already know, like, I'm a mess, I need help more than that, right? All right, so I know I'm far past my time. So I'm not going to go into all the specifics of what's coming up and exactly the differences, but I'll just mention that, again, the power in what me and my team do is we create monthly challenges and groups that help you take all of this information and actually start in bite-sized daily pieces, start to actually implement it and make progress and show you that it's possible in a group of women that are incredibly busy and have all the obstacles and husbands who don't want to eat healthy. Totally normal in our groups, right? So based on all of this that I've been learning and just want to teach more people. I'll be launching a group myself. I'll be launching a group in December, the first week of December, that is going to share, again, just bite-sized manageable pieces, like what should be your protein goal, what about rest, again, reminding you of like, this is the day of your cycle, this is the kind of workout that you want to do. So every day you'll just get a daily thing to kind of wrap your head around, to focus on and implement, or just make note in the future, right? Now, I will say that group specifically, I've posted all of this same information in like July or August. And I know a lot of you were super interested, but didn't have a chance to like actually read it and implement it. So I will say that it is going to be the same information as that time. But exciting announcement is that also I've decided to actually collaborate in a bigger group with a bunch of other, we call ourselves Sync certified coaches because we've gone through all this education and can teach it to other people and all the things. So myself, along with a bunch of other body coaches and Sync certified coaches, we're all coming together, as well as with the hormone expert herself. So all of us Sync certified coaches and the hormone expert herself are going to be collaborating in a Facebook group together. Again, we're going to boil it down. So you're going to have daily posts, but the power in this collaborative group is that like the hormone expert herself is going to be going live. She does live Q&As. Like she is just a wealth of information that I cannot say enough good things. I don't have a lot of time, but when I see a call of hers, I'll listen. It's like an hour long and I'll be listening to it this is how I learned half of what I'm telling you, because it's just like so good. And she knows so much. And if you're a body client of mine, or even if you're not, we can walk through, your options of getting plugged in there. But this is really a unique opportunity that I'm really excited about. And I know December is busy, duh, but I also think like this is the perfect time to get this kind of knowledge. Even if you're not implementing any of it, just to start learning it and making goals for the new year, and think about how, like, envisioning how you're going to feel better and what you're going to do with it in the future. That's really what these groups are more for. The course, if you want to dig into that, that's more about like getting in the nitty and gritty and, testing your own body and all the things. I'm a proponent of really starting this first route of just like getting plugged into one of these groups, whether mine or the collaborative one, where we just are introducing these things to you and teaching them to you day by day. And also in that collaborative group, if you're interested in doing one of these cycle sync calendars, you'll also get that. There'll be one for Lift More. And then we'll also have more of like just body classes that you'll get like a cycle sync calendar that you can do if you want to start practicing it and start feeling how it feels. You also get like a PMS meal plan. So like the week of your period when, oh my gosh, when everyone feels like they have cravings, I can't control what I put in my mouth, all the things. Again, that's not like you being broken. That's your body and the hormones. And if you start supplementing, first of all, fun fact, for those of you who've listened to all of this, like if you're not already taking a magnesium glycinate supplement, do it. Do it at night. It will help you feel so good. Yeah, you'll sleep better, and your chocolate cravings. I cannot tell you how much my chocolate cravings have gone down from taking a magnesium glycinate supplement. So like stuff like that. In the PMS meal plan, she adds in, again, we're more about adding in foods and taking it out. Because typically when you have cravings, it's because your body's not getting what it needs. So like the PMS meal plan helps you add in foods, mostly foods, not just supplements, foods that help your body actually feel like it has what it needs. And when it has what it needs, you won't have the cravings as much, and your body will feel safe to lose the weight and to build lean muscle. I'll go all the way back to that. There's our full circle moment. Really, that's what our bodies, we need to think about when we're thinking about feeling better, feeling more energized. And honestly, that's what we're more about. It's not just about losing weight and getting jacked. It's about having energy, having strength, and aging gracefully, aging in a way that we're not afraid of what's coming, and we're not like taking what our body naturally does and feeling like a victim to it. We're actually aware of what our body's doing, and we're doing things throughout our cycles and throughout our years that are actually prepping our bodies and helping them age in a way that is still energized and still strong. All right, I will stop. 9:17, 20 minutes late. Okay, Obviously, if you're interested in any of this and you want to learn more, whether it's the course or the groups, contact whoever invited you to this. If you're not sure, then it's probably me. But yeah, just reach out and I will create a whole email or Google form or something, so that you can kind of look through the options and understand how you can learn more and get plugged in. All right. Hope this was helpful. Thanks. Thank you for joining. I'm still hanging on. I love you dearly. You're so you made it. All right. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. All right.